Good morning, folks. You're tuned into Car Connection, where the coffee's strong, the stories are real, and the wrenches never stop turning. I'm your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins, coming to you from the Car Connection Workshop, where the smell of fresh oil, a little elbow grease, is all part of a balanced breakfast. Around here, we don't just talk cars, we live them. Whether it's a 25-year-old Jeep Wrangler getting a second chance at life, or a Nissan Rogue getting its brakes back in order, or perhaps a mystery leak that's got everyone scratching their heads. This is where we roll up our sleeves and we get it done with a little wit, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of fun. The Car Connection isn't just about nuts, bolts, and diagnostics. It's about connection. Connection to our vehicles, to the people who drive them, and to the community that keeps Niagara rolling. Because when you fix a car, you're not just turning a wrench, you're restoring someone's confidence, freedom, and maybe even their sanity. We're here every week for you, Monday through Saturday, with the Motormouth Morning Drive, helping you keep your ride safe, reliable, and ready for whatever road lies ahead. So whether you're a weekend wrencher, a daily commuter, or someone who just wants to understand what that strange rattle really means, welcome aboard. Stick around for some shop talk, expert advice, a few good laughs, and if I have a flashback, maybe even a story or two. Because let me tell you, over 4 decades as an automotive service tech, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. There's stories in my head that all of a sudden I'll go, oh, I haven't thought about that for years. Well, that can happen. Well, we've made it to almost the weekend. I call it the weekend. It's Friday. I've worked weekends for 32 years now. And you know what? I don't even know what that is, really. It's just, you know what? Tomorrow. Let's get through today and get to tomorrow. But let's focus on just today and the essentials. What do we need to accomplish today? And I'll tell you, when it comes to repairing and servicing automobiles, if you don't, as a tech, if you don't develop that mindset, two mindsets we have to have. Don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. And is the coffee hot and the donuts fresh? That's all we got to focus on. And today, let's get today's work done. In my mind, I'm already into next week, working out the schedules, what's going to be done. And yes, I keep a calendar, and I keep a calendar old school. I like a really big calendar, post it up where I can see it. And as the month closes, I put all the information on to the next month so I can just look at the day and I can see what's going on. What do we have to accomplish today? And then I peek at the days ahead, because I take that stuff out of my head and I track it. So you know what? It's not taking up space in my brain that I just don't have or can afford to give away and tie up with nonsense. I write stuff down. I'm still a little old school. I have a spiral bound notebook and I write stuff down. I'll go, oh, yeah, instead of rattling it around in your head continuously, write it down. Where am I going with this? Well, it is Fun Friday, so I think before we do anything, we should see what the weather's going to look like. And we're going to talk. We're just going to have open discussion this morning, and hopefully I can make you laugh a little bit. So if you do spill your hot beverage on your lap, I was never here. So if you're just scooting through the drive-thru, it's Friday. Flub Dip will check your order, because there's 2 days of the week I know when that can get seriously messed up. Mondays, yep, Monday shift, and Friday shift, because their heads are already going into the weekend. That's what you got to remember. So double check your order, lock it down in your cup holder, get yourself back out on the road and on your way to work. Keep an eye on the other guy. And here's what we got for weather, brought to us by are certified financial planning professionals. Tony Miele, Larry Tetro, 50 years experience as fiduciaries with IG Wealth Management, managing portfolios, whether you have $1 or $100,000 or $1 million, or you're a hundredaire. Doesn't matter. They'll sit and take a look at what you got going on and figure out how to get that money better working for you than you working for it. They take care of debt, estate planning, ranging mortgages, life insurance, critical illness insurance, but most of all, sit down and book what we call the discovery meeting. We've nicknamed it the hour and a coffee. Take advantage of that. Leave your wallets at home. Nobody's selling you anything. Nobody's going to ask you for any money. So don't worry about that. That's not a concern. What is a concern? Is to get your questions answered from those who have the fruit on the tree. Advisors at banks don't know tax planning. They don't know a lot of nuts and bolts. And no disrespect, but they're apprentices that may be working towards becoming a certified financial planner. But when it comes to finances and investments, I would highly endorse you work with someone who has the letters before their name, certified financial planner. You're dealing with someone who has the credentials to answer your questions properly. And it's all a package. It's same with hiring an automotive service tech, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. So call either one. You click on their link on our homepage. All the logos are there for our program partners that make this podcast, our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, Stevensvilleontheweb.ca, iHeartRadio, and also our merchandise store. It all happens because we have a few businesses that have come along with us since coming off the radio after 31 years in November. And Tony and Larry are my own personal financial planners for over 20 years. When I say get that hour and a coffee booked, stop taking information from your neighbors, your peeps. Those, as my professor would say, if their feet of the person that's giving you suggestions and advice are not where you want to be, smile, respect them, and then go and get your questions answered from those who do have the answers, those that have the fruit on the tree. You know, you don't go to a first-year apprentice and start talking about building a $15,000 dragster motor. No. They're learning. They're in the learning phase. And that's what an advisor is. So I want to clarify this for you because I can. And it's important. You're out there, you're grinding it like the rest of us. You know, I work 80 plus hours a week, and I have for a long time, and I'm just in that groove. It is what it is for me. And I don't sit and whine and cry about it because that solves nothing. But we got to solve problems. Every day, all of us are facing some kind of problems. And that's the whole purpose that we designed Car Connection about in 1996, was to help you and get you connected with people that can help you to solve problems and that are qualified to solve problems. And that's what a CFP is. They're there to understand tax planning and the implications of not doing that, the implications of not having a proper will, powers of attorney, health proxies, the whole 9 yards, not having all of that in place, not understanding your investments. You may have a benefit investment with your work. Where is it? What is it? How much is it? Can it be transferred out where it's actually making you money, not pulled over and parked with a handbrake on? So these are the things. I'm spending a minute here because these are the tools that we've put in place for you to tap into to solve problems, not just car problems, other problems. You know, so take advantage of that. As I said already, book a meeting by Zoom, by phone, in person, in the boardroom, at your kitchen table, at a coffee shop, but get it booked. There's no cost for it. These guys are giving their time, and they don't need any more clients. Trust me when I say it. They don't. And they'll tell you that straight up. But they're putting their knowledge on the table and saying, you come and ask, we'll give you our time. But be honest. You got to be open and honest and solve some problems. So if any of those things are of interest and you got questions and you're not getting answers, book that hour and a coffee and get it done. Get your questions answered. I have them handling all that stuff for me. All of it. All what I just spoke about, they handle it all. When I put my head on my pillow at night, I don't have to think about any of those things. They got your back. If there's something that you need to be brought to your attention, they'll connect with you. That's what having a good service tech is all about as well. Is they got your back, not your wallet. So today's forecast, I know it was a bit of an introduction there, but it's important to know and understand everything we do, everything I'm involved in through Car Connection for 32 years is done with specific intent. Specific intent. Yeah, exactly. Not just doing a whole bunch of random stuff and then check and see how it's doing a year later. No. It's all done with specific intent, is to help you. Because I really don't need to be here, but I want to be here to help you, to help navigate you through what's can be a horrendous situation for people is car down. It's the only car you got. You got no finances to replace it, and you don't have a whole lot of reserve to get it back out on the road. That's pressure. That's what my good friend many years ago, he was my real estate agent for life. I don't know if he's still around or not, but if John D. Liberto, he was with Remax on the Hamilton Mountain, and he was a client at the shop, and I met him through the car doctor, used to be on CHML, another good friend of mine, and he would always say, you know what, Niall, real estate is almost like automotive. It's motivation by fear. I used to always laugh. That was so good. Today, 33 degrees right now and cloudy. Wind is making it feel colder, about 31 degrees. Hazy conditions expected around 9 a.m. this morning. Today's temperature range is from 31 to 52 degrees. Did you hear that? 52 degrees. Guess what's happening? Going to be happening at 52 degrees. The rusties begin to eat your car if it's not protected. That's what happens, and the rust will take off like you won't believe. So 52 degrees, and it's going to feel like a little more like 28 to 48 degrees Fahrenheit. Precipitation, do we have some? Well, it's saying there could be some snows, 3.4 inches, but highly unlikely at 52 degrees or 48 degrees. Rain, 0.2 of an inch. In the next 24 hours, about 0.1 of an inch of the wet stuff. So that's where we're at heading into the weekend. And things are looking a whole lot better next week for the weather. I mean, 63 on Saturday tomorrow. Yeah, that's to get excited about it, don't you think? Next week's temperatures, 56, 58, 52, 54. You know what that means? That means the 2008 Nissan Rogue needs to get an appointment for, you said it, I heard somebody say it, rust protection. Yes, because that means the rusties are going to wake up, and acids from the road salt are going to wake up and get activated. In the cold, the salt residue, which is an acid, it sits dormant. But as soon as we hit 40 degrees Fahrenheit plus, it activates, and I'll tell you, it eats body metal like you would not believe. So a little bit of damage can turn into a lot of damage in a hurry. Okay, where are we going next? Well, we should have our morning swiggy, right? I tell you, I'm jonesing for coffee this morning, but I have to have my herbal tea first. Following the rules to stay healthy. So, suck it up, Buttercup, right? So, it is what it is, and it is what it isn't. So on 321, let's give thanks to Earl and Louise Grant at City Auto Sales and Leasing, Greater Toronto Area's premier pre-owned auto store, providing us with low mileage, quality vehicles at fair prices, in-house leasing as well as financing, and you can buy with confidence and be treated with nothing less than honesty and integrity. And Earl and Louise, they're car guys. They have the resources, and I don't know where they pull these vehicles from, but they're absolutely outstanding. What does that mean? They're clean inside and out. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. And that's how they run their business. They're not going to sell you any junk. And they also won't let you go out the door without a conversation and be car broke. And don't be that person. You know what? I was many years ago. I had to have the hot rod. I had to have this, that. To impress who? Exactly. Don't get stuck into a car payment or owning an automobile that keeps you broke. That you're out there on the road every day, home to work, 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 home to work. And that's just the first week to make a stinking car payment and pay interest to drive a vehicle to impress people you may not necessarily even know or even like. That's it. As I always say, we've got to become smarter than the cat. Then we're moving in the right direction. So if you're car buying this spring, get in touch with Earl and Louise Grant. They have a lot of amazing resources to find that specific vehicle that you're looking for that may not necessarily be in their inventory. Let them do the legwork for you. And I'll tell you, if you got to drive 90 minutes one way like I used to work, it's worth it to get a good ride, to buy a quality pre-owned vehicle. And pre-owned, that's the best. Let someone else pay the large money and let it depreciate, and you walk in and you just snatch that and go, yep, that's mine, and lick it. Say, this one's mine. Exactly. And take it home and take care of it. All right. That was a long swiggy thing, right? Good thing it's Friday. 3, 2, 1. That's how we do this. 3, 2, 1. It's swiggy time. Let's have a huge one. Make it a super double flip dipple ripple swiggy on 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's just about all of it gone. Coffee is directly following the program. So what are we talking about today? It's Friday. How many of you out there have vehicles that you've given names to? Like you've given it a name. Let me know in an email. Email me, motormouth.jenkins@gmail.com or Niall@ccbusnet.com, or you can go to our website, ccbusnet.com, carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. There is a way for you to send me an email directly through the website. So there's a email form. That's what I was trying to think of. It's too long a word for me to remember on a Friday. Yeah, we're getting near the tail end of 80 hours for the week. Yeah, gray matter is shrinking. Yeah, so send me an email. Let me know what car you had and what name you gave it and why. Just a little bit of your backstory. Why did you name that vehicle that? I think it's interesting to see what, do you name your vehicles? That's my question out to you today on Fun Friday. And tomorrow is Q&A. So if you haven't tuned into that, you missed some programs last week. They're all up on our iHeartRadio platform, and you can catch our podcasts every day, Monday through Saturday, on there, on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. We're on all the major and minor platforms. So wherever you pull your podcasts from, just type in the search box, Car Connection Workshop. You'll find us. On YouTube, it's Motormouth Jenkins. But all the links are provided for you on the homepage of our website. That's why we call it the biggest drawer in our toolbox. That's where all the logos are there for all the businesses that are part of making this podcast and our YouTube channel possible. And also, you click on that logo and it will open a profile page on our website so that you can connect and meet them. And we thank you in advance for giving them your business. That's what they're there for, is to answer your questions and to assist you any way they can. They're not there to work for free, okay? So unless you're willing to work for your boss for 1 week for free, if they want to give you a discount out of the goodness of their heart, let them choose to do that. And I utilize the businesses that I'm talking about as well, and I don't expect a discount. If they give me one, that's fine, but I don't go, hey, I'm helping you out. You give me a great deal. Give me a great deal. If they want to do that, let them do that from the goodness of their heart. If they want to give you a blessing like that, let them decide, not you force that decision. But let them know that Motormouth sent you. So top right-hand corner of the home page, all our links are there. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stevensvilleontheweb.ca. If you're listening for the first time, that's where my parents have lived for decades. And I have a lot of friends there. And Skippy, our videographer, is from there. And she is the one that wanted to draw the businesses and the community together. So she created that website to do that, and it's working very well. So when you click on the businesses tab, you'll find Car Connection. We are there in Stevensville on that website. It has over 7,000 viewers. It's a crazy website, but it's all good. Brings people together. Thank you to Crystal Ridge Dream Center, serving men, women, children meals, love, and hope, changing lives one at a time in Niagara. They have a program specifically designed for single moms and the kids. They have after-school programs for the kids. They feed them and play games with them, keep them energized, and their little brains active. They help them with homework. They have a mentoring program and also music lessons, so they can take up music lessons. And that's all at no cost. They don't get any government funding. They're a nonprofit, faith-based organization and changing lives in times when community support is crucial. Crystal Ridge Dream Center shines as a beacon of compassion and transformation. Located in the heart of Crystal Beach, 385 Derby Road, and you can find them on our website. And hey, take a look. See if there's some way you'd like to get involved in what they're doing. They feed almost 300 meals now every Tuesday out the door to the public, and on Fridays as well. So they get a hot meal twice a week. And if you can help them out with that, that'd be great. Maybe you've got some volunteer time. That would be a great place to invest it. So thank you for that ahead of time. Well, what vehicles do you have, or past, present, or maybe a future vehicle? What would you name it, or what have you named your vehicle? And I'll share some stories myself. We have every vehicle that is part of our Car Connection fleet that we've created over 32 years. They're not toys. I call them tools because that's what they are. We take them out and help fundraise and attract people to the event and meet and greet people. We let the kids have their pictures taken with their moms or by themselves behind the steering wheel. And we take them out to car shows to get involved in the local community. We go to things like, what is it called? Cars and Coffee. We were invited last year to the very last one, but I couldn't get there. I was vacationing. I was the last man in the cottage door last year. I don't know how that happened. I have to talk to my brother-in-law about that. How did I get to be the last feller at the cottage last year? But anyways, missed a couple of things. That was one of them. But that's what these vehicles that we've put together are for. And now a lot of the car shows are vehicle or category specific. Yeah, it's not just a run what you brung kind of thing, or what they call a work in progress. If you've got a vehicle that's roadworthy and drivable and you're still fixing it up, there are car shows for those folks as well. And they call it works in progress. And some car shows have an area specifically for that, and you have to sign in as that. Your vehicle is a work in progress. So, what we've had to do over 32 years is make sure that we can get into these car shows and fundraising events, because a lot of the car shows now are raising funds for local charities. And so the committees and the presidente and vice president of the car clubs, they decide together as a unit, and I don't know if they ask those who are part of the club what organizations they'd like to get involved in and raise funds. So there's an entrance fee always to get in, and you got to register your vehicle. But if you're not in the category, you can't go in. That's right. So if you're a hamster, you can't get into the farm show if it's for cows. You got to be, you got to be a cow to get in. That's how it works. Exactly. You can't be a hamster and show up and get into the cow show. You have to be a cow to get in the cow show. So that's why we developed the tools we need to be able to do that, is get ourselves invited, and then we can go and be part of the cruise event that's raising funds for local charities. So that's how that works. But they all have a name. Yeah. So would you like me to tell you those names? Are you waiting? Holding you in the balance? Okay. All right. We've got a new one this year that's ready. Well, Mr. Green Jeans is going to be out there this year. That's great. Last year we were close, but we ran into some snagglepusses right at the very last, like the final hour, and I had to go and pull something else out and get to the location to get done for setup day. So Mr. Green Jeans didn't make it. So Mr. Green Jeans is going to be out there this year. He's a 67 Chevy Fleetside pickup, came from Georgia, and it's dark green with a white top. That's the original colors. Bumpers are white, top is white, and he's green. And that's his name, Mr. Green Jeans. And he has a logo, Mr. Green Jeans Farms, is on the doors. And so he's going to be out there this year, and I'll be wearing coveralls or bibs or whatever with a straw hat. Yeah, and a little piece hanging out of my mouth. Little piece of weed or something. We have Orange Crush. That is a 2003 Volkswagen Beetle convertible, 5-speed, 1.8 turbo. And Orange Crush, resurrected Orange Crush from nothing. That car I found it on a car lot in the middle of nowhere and stopped in to inquire, and the guy was like, "You got to buy this. Look, I'll make you a deal. Super deal. You can't refuse. Everybody wants it for a son or a daughter, pretty much for a daughter, but it's a stick. Can't get rid of it. It's been here way too long." And I said, "Well, I'll think about it." No, you got to come in the office right now. I'll make you a deal if you'll buy that. I said, "Well, I was really interested in something else, really." And he goes, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm curious about the Saab 9.3 convertible." "Oh, you like that?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, you got to come in the office. We'll make a deal." So anyways, they did. They made me a deal. They said, "Well, we'll sell you the Saab, but you got to take the Beetle too." So that's how we ended up. And then we ended up having them as a client. It was a lot of fun. And we did some fundraising together. So we have the 2000 Saab 9.3 Millennium Silver with leather interior. And we loved on it. I worked a whole winter on that car to get it ready, and it's pretty much ready. And that car's name is Sabrina. Get it? Sabrina. Yeah, Sabrina. Then we have a couple of cars that are left in storage that I've had for 4 decades, I guess. 1992-ish. So we're asking our YouTube viewers. We're pretty much wrapped up with the Jeep the 97 Jeep TJ Wrangler that I rescued from the crusher, and we've brought it back to life. And a lot of it, you can watch all the videos that teach you how to do that, how to bring something back to life, and just go through all the neglected maintenance. And that's what I've done. Gone through all the neglected maintenance, and you're going to see one of the final videos. There's still a couple things that have to be done. I got to do some floor welding and some torque box welding, and I'll show a little bit of that, but I don't want to bore people with that. And I want to do the welding outside. I do not want to do the welding in the shop. It's too tight. We got too many projects going, and a great chance of having a fire, and I don't want that to happen. So I've got that to do, some transmission servicing, but this weekend I will film the very first and last part of the series as I start it up and drive it out the bay door. We pushed it in last year, and it's driving out under its own power. We got some custom exhaust that needs to be done with the engine that's in there. Wasn't quite exactly the same, so the exhaust has to be adjusted. We got to drop the big heavy shield underneath, clean out all the mud and stuff. But anyways, that one we haven't named yet. Yeah, it has no name, so maybe you can help us name that vehicle. We have Princess Royal, and that car I built during COVID, which was interesting. Very much so. I have that footage on my GoPro. We're going to have to edit that, and so we can show you that on our YouTube channel. Princess Royal I rescued that from the heart of Crystal Beach. Somebody whispered in my ear and said, "You looking for another Beetle convertible?" I go, if the price is right. And I said, "Where is it?" Gave me a sort of idea, and I'm cruising Crystal Beach till I saw it, and then I made a connection there and ended up putting a deal together, and I built that car and brought it back to life. It was hurting aesthetically. It had seen a lot of driving by braille. Yeah, you hit something and then you go, "Oh, I think I hit something." Well, that doesn't look good. That's some nasty looking artwork. So I fixed all that bad artwork, cleaned it up, fixed a whole pile of stuff. Mechanically, it was good. It was interior aesthetics, exterior aesthetics. I did pull the whole nose off at the front, pulled the whole rear off at the back, replaced bumper covers and some paint work, and the guys came to the table and painted stuff for me, and it was great. And the car is royal blue with tan leather interior, and that's why I called her Princess Royal. Yeah, it has a 2.5 liter automatic Tiptronic tranny, and I'll tell you, that thing runs on fumes. I think that's the best engine Volkswagen has ever created. So that's Princess Royal. We have who's left? Yeah, I'm just thinking where they are. Princess Royal's up there. Mo, you haven't met Mo. Mo is a 1984 Toyota short box 4x4, and it's short for Mojave. There was only 500 of them made, and Canada received most of them, and its number is 222 out of 500. And this is where, when I talk about paying interest and principal, this is the one that really did it for me. I was 22 years old when I bought that Toyota Mojave. I tried to get one, and I missed one, and then I missed the vehicle that Toyota came out with the year before. It was called a Mirage. It was also a short Toyota four-wheel drive pickup, and they only made 500 of those, and the four-wheel drive ones came to Canada. So I missed that, and then I did find this Mojave in London in the Hamilton Spectator for sale. It had 11,600 kilometers on it. And so I phoned the guy, made the deal. Anyways, long story short, Mo is still with me. I was paying that loan off at $11,600 at 17.93% interest. Yeah, you heard that right. 17.93% interest. By the time I paid that truck off, Working my butt off, putting myself through trade school at Mohawk College, working a job, paying for my own apartment, the whole 9 yards. I paid $22,000 for that truck. Yep, but I have it, and I still have it, and he's all ready to go. I went over it last year or the year before, and did the brakes for the first time at 169,000 kilometers. How did I do that? Fleet maintenance schedule. That's what I'm going to say. All these vehicles, you know what was wrong with every single one? Every single one. Maintenance neglect. That's all. Whether it was aesthetics, inside, the outside, and mechanical, all three, the trifecta, that's what put them in my hands at very little money. People had just run them into the ground, and we brought them back to life. And the Jeep TJ Wrangler, the same thing. Found it in a wrecking yard, a truck wrecking yard down in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and in the middle of nowhere. We were in there harvesting some parts, working on a trailer for a ministry that is called Outdoor Adventuremen for Christ, and they travel all over doing fishing derbies, archery, target shooting, all kinds of things for single moms, single dads to spend time with their kids. So I volunteered to help build a kitchen, a larger kitchen trailer, a hauler. So they took a race car hauler, and a group of us were putting it together as a kitchen. So I was in there, wrecking yard, getting some parts, and that's how I found the 97 Jeep TJ Wrangler. So I'm thinking, oh, restoration. Yes, forgot about restoration. That should be out this year finally. That's been a 15-year restoration. That's why I call it restoration. Is because it's been 15 years in the making. And this has been the worst vehicle I've ever had to do. And it's still got a couple of challenges we just can't seem to get past. Oil leaks. And every day I walk past it, it's covered up in the far corner of the shop. It's leaking transmission fluid again and power steering fluid. And I got to get it on the lift to determine exactly what's going on. But I bought this vehicle that was worked on. Frame off restoration was done by some really bad mechanics. That's all. I'm gonna leave it at that. Everything they've touched, everything they did, I've had to redo it. Everything was haphazardly put together, and it's been a really big challenge. So I nicknamed the car Restoration. Then we have the Fire Chicken, and that's coming along too. You'll see that on videos. We got to do the rear brakes on it, and then it'll be mobile. That's a 1984 Trans Am GTA. It's a looker. It's white with the silver eagle all over it, glass T-tops. And that one we may be raffling off, so you might want to stick around for that one. I think that may be our second muscle car from the 80s that we raffle off as our YouTube channel gets to monetization. That will change everything. So a group of us guys want to be able to raffle off a car once a year for local charity. So that's what that one is for. I don't think we're going to keep it. I think it's more or less it's going to be one that'll be you'll be having an opportunity to win that. Yeah. Have I forgotten anything? Oh, yes, I did. I forgot two more. They're coming in the shop. So we've asked our YouTube viewers, which one would you like to see us work on next? 1971 Fiat Spider 1608 cc's came across the ocean from Italy. And I've got all the paperwork for that. And there's a big backstory on that car. And I've had it since the early 90s. And that one needs some engine work and some maintenance. So we're letting the viewers, our subscribers on our YouTube channel, make the decision on that. Is it going to be Tony, the 1971 Fiat? And how did he get his name? Fiat acronym is Fix It Again Tony. So Yeah. So we call him Tony. And or is it going to be the 92 Volkswagen Golf Carmen Series Cabriolet? That's right from Germany. That's a California car. It's red. Convertible, of course, Cabriolet. And that needs a whole bunch of just some mechanical work. The clutch is bad on it. Radiator, tune up, oil change, valve cover gasket, fuel filter, brakes, shocks, all that stuff's got to be done, and all that stuff is set aside for it. So uh, if you subscribe, you can send us a comment or send me an email. Which one would you like to see us work on next is your choice. So I think that's the last of them, and then they're all cleaned up. Yeah, and then we'll decide what we are going to raffle some of them off, but we haven't decided what the order is going to be. But the Monte Carlo, we call them Carlos. Carlos is going to be the first one that we raffle off. So what are some of the names? And I used to have a 1975, was it 75? Plymouth Valiant that was handed the keys to me, and I had to go find it. And if you know the Hamilton area down near what used to be Cops Coliseum, Bay 200. It was in the underground parking at Bay 200 forever. And it was one of my clients, her sister's car. She passed away, handed me the keys as they were, the ladies, I call them the ladies, were heading off to Florida to go golfing. And I looked after their Cadillacs and actually had to get a Cadillac to leave them a Cadillac to service their Cadillac. Yeah, big story behind that one too. But I called them my ladies. So the ladies handed me the keys and they were, we're off to go golfing in Florida. We'll be back in a month. It's in there. Here's the address. Here's the key. So that's how I ended up with Gert. 1975 Plymouth Valiant. It was in mint condition, covered in a 1/4 inch of dust. Yeah, so that vehicle's gone. I sold that 3 times and bought it back. I think that's about it. So where am I going with that? It's all about having the checklist, the fleet maintenance system that I created. How do you keep all that in order? How do you keep it all going? How do you prevent it all from breaking the bank? Is by following the fleet maintenance system that I created. It makes it easy. It doesn't matter whether you have 1 car or 10. With the fleet maintenance system, you can keep your maintenance organized. So then you don't burn out gray matter that you can't afford to give away, like myself. I think it's from all the exhaust fumes from working when I worked at Mack Trucks of Canada and Peterbilt of Ontario. Yeah, we took in a lot of exhaust. I think that's where it happened. But just the same, that's how I keep track. That's what makes it easy. And as we're fixing something up, I create lists of stuff that needs to be done. And it's posted. Usually it'll be in the glove box of the vehicle, or if it's on the lift, that's where the list of stuff that needs to be taken care of is there. And you do an item, you check it off. So you don't have to think about it. So you can focus on other things. And then you can keep that vehicle as long as you want. And if there are any pattern failure items on whatever vehicle it is, like I've discovered, and I have a list on this 2008 Nissan Rogue that was donated to us, and we decided to bring it back to life. That's me, myself, and I. When I say we, that's pretty much, that's it. I don't have any other techs. I am the tech. I am the secretary. I am the host, the engineer, the writer, the editor, and filmmaker. Yeah. Me, myself, and I. And thank goodness I have Skippy. She's a great blessing and very talented. But anyhow, that's how you can keep things going. Is I now know 4 items that are pattern failures on that Nissan Rogue. And I've written them down and in the file so I know that they're there. But mentally, I know those are areas I need to pay closer attention to. So if I don't want the vehicle to expire before you get return on your investment, how are you going to do it? That's how you're going to do it. Is know what their shortfalls are, know what parts of them suck, and when you know what those parts are, those are the areas you're going to pay closer attention to, so it doesn't run away from you and you end up losing it. So I remember I'm saying I remember when. I'm going to leave you with this one. The Ford Aerostar. We nicknamed them the Aero Bar. And just to change a headlight on one of those things was unbelievable. The engineer that designed that is probably still laughing in the Cayman Islands somewhere. And they had a list of problems. And I said one time to a fellow, he goes, "Oh, I'd never touch one of those." I said, "You know what? I would." I said, "I think they're kind of sporty." And that's when, minivans were starting to get hot out there and everyone was coming up with one. So Ford came up with the Aero Bar. They had the Windstar and the Aero Bar, the Ford Aerostar. And they were all kind of named after, the space shuttle kind of thing, the era. So, where am I going with this? It had a list of pattern failures like you wouldn't believe. And there were a ton of those out there. So we knew for our Aerostar, Windstar folks that what areas we needed to pay close attention to on their vehicle when it would come in for service to stay ahead of their problems. And when you do that, you can still get long life out of that vehicle. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you've named some of your vehicles and why. And if you don't mind, if I can read that out on the air, that would be great. Saturday, tomorrow morning is Q&A. So if you have questions, Saturday morning show is a 1-hour program for you. And that's where I'll take questions and I'll do Q&A with you. But right now you have to email me your questions. When my buddy Ty gets back, he is a space engineer. And he's going to show me how we can use our IP over internet phone and tie that in so that I can take calls during the program. So we're going to turn it into a call-in show. So we're working on that behind the scenes. But till then, send me an email. Let me know what your question is. I'll answer it on the air on Saturday mornings. Let me know what vehicles you have, what names you've given them, and why. And give me permission to share that so we can get some conversation going. Because I know a lot of people, and I don't know if it's just women only, but women name their cars. Are you one of those women? Yeah. What have you named your car? Oh, I did have a car back in the past. I bought off a longtime customer, a 1980 or 81 Chevy Malibu station wagon. And her name was Rhonda. Yeah, Rhonda was a great car. Absolutely. And I handed that off to a single mom. I drove it for quite a while and then heard of a single mom needed a car. She was broken down. She didn't have wheels, 3 kids. And my apprentice told me that, and I'm like, we got to get her a set of wheels. I mean, my goodness. Can't have that happening now that I know. And so I gave up Rhonda to her, but that was a great car. That car was very reliable and useful. So have yourself a fabulous Friday. Have an extra cup of Joe. I know I will. I'm working in the shop this afternoon, getting ready for next week's video shoot. Like, subscribe, share, follow, ring the bell. Do all the things. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, iHeartRadio, our podcast. We have, this is episode 104, I think. We're in season 2. Yeah. Season 2, episode 104. Videos for you to follow along. And remember, most $5,000 car repairs start off as a $200 maintenance item. Would you rather spend small money on a schedule, grabbing hold of one of our fleet maintenance systems, or big money on a surprise? There's a question for you to ponder over the weekend. So send me an email. That's all you got to do. Send me an email to get further details on how you can get a fleet maintenance system built and designed by yours truly. Motormouth. So have a fabulous Friday. Happy, healthy motoring. Be careful. Be careful out there on the roadways because there's idiots out there. And yeah, they're not thinking. On Fridays, people shut their brains off about 2:45, somewhere around there. So be safe. Have a fabulous weekend. We got some warmer weather coming. And we'll see you tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. for another morning drive with Motormouth and Q&A. So get your questions over to me today. There's a website form at carconnectionbusinessnetwork.com. All that information to connect with me is in all the descriptions on our YouTube videos and in the description on our podcasts. And I say just description, you should read what I put in the description on our YouTube videos and our podcasts because I put a lot of nuggets in there that will help you as well. Not just the videos and the podcast, but I put extra special nuggets for you in the descriptions. So have yourself a fabulous weekend. Hope to see you or hear from you tomorrow morning, Saturday morning's program for Q&A, or until Monday. I'll be back in the driver's seat at 8 a.m. Peace, patience, and kindness always. Bye for now. Thank you to Niagara Block at 5000 Montrose Road, Niagara Falls, building Canada since 1931. Building supplies, hardscape, landscape materials for you. They can help you to line yourself up with a contractor to develop, create, start, and finish that beautiful backyard space that you want to create for yourself, your family, your peeps, a place that you can call your personal oasis. So check in with Niagara Block. Let them know that Car Connection sent you, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye for now. Times 2.